music by Crystal Beth. I am thinking a lot about love and suffering and love this week. I have a pooch in the back here. I don't think that she's suffering too much. She's well loved. There was a quote someone shared with me last week, and it was that the only way we are transformed is through great love and great suffering. The only way we are transformed is through great love and great suffering. It's a quote from Richard Rohr. He's a Franciscan priest about contemplation and action. And I would say yes, and. Because I don't think it's binary. I don't think it's one and then the other, and then the other, and then one. I think it's both. And it's learning to exist and move through and with and from the constant interchange between love and suffering. And you might call suffering mental noise, or I might call mental noise suffering. Or it could be the daily grind. It could be just the pain that resurfaces itself in your life in a perennial way. It could be acute suffering, collective suffering that we are all experiencing on many different layers right now. In that, we have the capacity to call upon the big love movement. When I talk about love, I am not talking about sentiment, emotion, just a feeling, but actually an evolutionary process. The ground of being, the fabric of the universe, the energy that produces rebirth over and over again in the seasons, that cycles the light of the moon and the dark of the new moon, the movement of the sun, the earth around the sun. And the regeneration after catastrophe, after tragedy, that sense in which we are unfolding more life, even in the face of daily deaths. And going back to that sense of perennial resurfacings of whatever it is, anxiety, depressions, fears, financial, relationship, career, family relationships, that it's never the same, that you are not stuck. And you can especially tap into this awareness that there's a revolution, and in that evolution, and that when we come into the body, into the whole body, and consciously participate and actively moving to tap into the greater big love movement, that our suffering becomes a process of our transformation, of our evolution, of not just cultivating daily a practice of attempting to open to more well-being. And frankly, sometimes we don't feel that well-being right away. But what I'm asking for is trust in this love process, moving forward, evolutionary, unfolding rhythm of bodily becoming, that it is not the same every time. that your moments of pain or mental noise are not the same every time, that actually you are unfolding toward more being, a rhythm of bodily becoming toward more being. That's a phrase, rhythm of bodily becoming, that comes from the philosopher, my friend, Kimmer Lamotte. And that you have the capacity to tap into the evolving, overcoming, becoming rhythm of more being in your body every single day. And even when it feels shitty and the mental noise is more than you can take. And so today, I want to guide you through some practice, parts of a practice that you can do. And before I do that, I want to read a poem that a friend of mine, Jessie Hayes, wrote in response to some of my writing about personal essays that aren't finished yet about the art and practice of movement. So just for a moment, let's tap into our breath and the blood moving through our body and hear this poem by Jessie Hayes. It's called Moving Through, Winding Around. The air in cycles and circles pushes through my soft tissues, howls and hisses in my bones, flows in rivulets and torrents into my blood like salmon spawned at river source. I flow to the sea and back in a dance that is reincarnation, a movement that finds life and death in its essence, transformation coming into form. Speak my name over salty waters, over moonbeams, under stars spread into the night sky. There is a movement of the one, the soul that speaks in whispers and in song, the susurration of the river, the miracle of murmuration. Sometimes in flight, I forget myself. When I catch myself, I find myself surprised in the kiss of life. So today, I want to take that mental noise and sort of the ache of the heart that we can feel in the suffering down into our lower body. So take a deep breath. Plant your feet wide and know that you have a pelvis and feet, legs and feet that touch the earth and ground you and anchor you. And just take a moment to bounce down, really aggressively bouncing, rhythm in the knees, into the ankles. I'm breathing and exhaling, sending everything down from the upper, this like place we can get trapped in, up here, swirling in our thoughts, aching in our hearts, sending it down into our lower body. And then let's bounce our heels, just giving ourselves just a little. You can see you can bounce 1 foot, 2 feet. Notice I'm with the main beat of the music, but that's okay. You don't have to be. Just sending it down, stomping a foot, stomping another foot, stomping 2 feet, maybe a little jumping, jumping, down, shaking it out. Just focusing on the heaviness, the earthy, solid grounding of the lower body. Just do your own little stomp dance. Slapping it out, maybe a little faster. Just take a moment, shake the lower half, knees and ankles and hips. Ooh, shaking the lower half of the body, sending the energy down. Finding our ground base. Boom, down, deep, low, supported. Take your legs a little wider. Feel yourself in a big, wide stance. Put your hands over your heart. And actually take one hand to your lower pelvis. And just feel the movement of the pelvis rocking back and forth, supporting the heart. The heart to relax. Breathe deeply into your heart space. Feel your lungs expand like wings reaching out beyond your shoulders, beyond your arms, beyond your head. Good, and take a moment. Just put your hands over your forehead and the back of the head. And as you inhale, sending your overactive mind and thoughts down into the pelvis. Just rocking back and forth, bending knees and ankles, rocking the hips. Good. And then find stillness on the lower body, just like a solid rock. Good. And shake your head aggressively. Ooh, just shaking out. And then shake your shoulders. Bounce your shoulders, whatever kind of shake, maybe rolling one shoulder, each one at a time, so you have two shoulders, not one stuck block. Maybe rolling them forward, maybe reaching your elbows up and back, circling the elbows back and front, then circle the whole arms forward and back, and then shake out the arms. And feel your support of your base. Let your base be solid and strong, your lower half grounded. Start to straighten your knees. And feel yourself grow tall as you shake your arms. And then find breath and stillness. Inhale wide. Feel your feet grounded and your arms reaching up above your head. And just for a moment, feel yourself standing tall, lengthening between heaven and earth, feet grounded, tailbone long and down into the earth, like a straight arrow, and the feet grounded, your feet touching the ground and anchored. Just breathing into the heart space. Opening as you breathe into the back of the heart, feeling your base supporting, your base, your lower half touching the earth and grounded into the earth, strong and supportive. And then just let yourself rock and move with that breath. The susurrations of the rivers and the murmuration of miracles, the connection to the big soul, the big love movement, feeling yourself grounded and rooted into the earth and letting yourself move with a breath and spaciousness in the upper body. Bring your hand into your heart and away from your heart, flying your arms like bird wings. Feeling your heart and your lungs reach out through your shoulders and your elbows and your wrists and your hands, flying like an eagle for higher vision, like a great blue heron for patience through the storm, the shit storms that we're in right now, that we're facing, that are both personal and collective. And knowing as a bird, you can connect with the great flock heart, as we call it, with my community of whole heart connection people led by Thea Elijah, that we can be a part of this great big flock of heart of movement, the big love movement, the source that moves life toward more being out of our suffering, with the rhythms of love in the evolutionary process and our pain and our noise moving us toward more well-being and greater wholeness.